What would you think of the public thinking that somebody who affirmed that sometimes we should bend the law has become the ombudsman of this republic?
Do you think that Secretary Remulla can ever be fair in deciding the cases against himself, now sitting as ombudsman?
We're not interpreting the Constitution, Mr. Justice.
Yes, sir.
I'm asking you whether the rule of law is still the foundation of our Constitution.
Senator Pangilinan was there, and Congressman Luistro was there when we considered the first issue of whether a candidate is disqualified or not.
Nako, ang tatanungin mo si Pangilinan tsaka si Luistro. Ang tatanungin mo talaga, tatanungin nyo si Pangilinan tsaka si Luistro. Ang tatanungin talaga nila si Pangilinan tsaka si Luistro. Naku po, nandun daw sila.
Justice, a few questions from the chair.
O, sandali lang mga kareaksyon. Dito makikita po natin dito kung gaano katalino si Marcoleta at kung gaano parang itong justice na to ay matututo pa kay Marcoleta. Sasabunin po ni Marcoleta ang isang justice. Pakinggan po ninyo mga kareaksyon. Ako mga kareaksyon, ipapakulong daw si Vice President. Nako, ito mga kareaksyon kasi itong si Senator Imee Marcos, meron po siyang bagong pasabog ngayon. Nako mga kareaksyon, good morning muna sa inyo lahat. Nako, ito na po mga kareaksyon, pakinggan po natin ha. At mag-comment po kayo sa comment section kung kayo po ba ay galit sa nangyari na kung saan ay si Boying ang naging ombudsman. I-comment po niyo sa comment section, galit!
Dududahan ni Senator Imee Marcos. Pinagdududahan ni Senator Imee Marcos ang appointment ni Boying Remulla bilang bagong ombudsman. Suspetsa niya, planchado na talaga niya ang plano na mapakulong si Vice President Sara Duterte. Nasa frontline ng balitang yan, si Dave Abuel.
Bago pa man italagang ombudsman si Justice Secretary Boying Remulla, natunugan na raw ito ni Senator Imee Marcos. Si Senator Imee ang nagsampa ng kaso kay Remulla, kaugnay ng pagkakaaresto kay dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte. Kalaunan, ibinasura rin niya ng ombudsman.
Kasi nag-tumbling ang ombudsman, pag-tumbling para i-dismiss yung mga kaso. Dismiss ka agad, lahat baseless. Pagkatapos mag-issue ng clearance, talagang kinakana ng todo-todo.
Tingin ng senadora, pinaplano talaga ang pagpapakulong kay VP Sara Duterte.
Mukhang planchadong-planchado na. Kung hindi makakalusot yung impeachment, nako ang plan B, diretso na tayo sa plan C. Planchado na ang lahat.
Naninindigan naman ng Malacanang sa pagkakatalaga kay Remulla bilang ombudsman. Hindi raw ito para tugisin ang mga kalaban sa politika.
There's always a process and a very stringent process required under our constitution, and then Secretary Remulla went through that process, no, and he was vetted by the JBC and appointed by the president. So I don't believe there is basis to that concern. At the end of the day, after the president receives the recommendation from the JBC, it's still the decision of the president.
Ang Liberal Party, umaasang hahabulin ni Remulla ang mga korap. Nakabantay daw sa mga kilos ng bagong ombudsman. Si House Infrastructure Committee Co-Chairperson Terry Ridon naniniwalang mapapatatag ng appointment ni Remulla ang pagkakaroon ng accountability, lalo sa mga sangkot sa korupsyon sa flood control. Isusumite raw nila sa ombudsman ang lahat ng transcripts, dokumento at mga ebidensya ng kanilang hearing. Agad namang kinondena ni Davao City 1st District Representative Paulo Duterte ang bagong posisyon ni Remulla. Pero dahil sa dami raw ng problema ng mga nakaupo ngayon, kailangan nila ng tulong para mapagtakpan daw sila. Yan ay kahit na tila pangungutya na ito sa konstitusyon. Nagbabalita mula sa Frontline, Dave Abuel, News 5.
Mga kapatid, Cheryl Cosing po.
Ako nung narinig ko po kanina na talagang si Bonjing na po yung ombudsman, natawa lang ako, natawa. Bakit kanyo? Bakit po ako natawa? Katulad po ng sinabi ni Madam Imee Marcos, Senator Imee Marcos, na ang target nila ay si VP Sara Duterte. Nakakatawa po mga kareaksyon ha. Mantakin mo, kung meron kang utak na presidente, gagawin mong ombudsman si Remulla? Ibig sabihin mga kareaksyon, hindi ko alam kung totoo yung sinabi o sinasabi ng mga nasa social media. Kahit po sinabi po ito ni sino ba nagsabi nito yung we are running by syndicate? Alam ko na, SPS Cudero. Oo, mga galawang sindikato. Kaya mga ka-reaction, ito pong pagkakatalaga ni Bonjing Remula bilang ombudsman ay nakakatawa. Bakit po? Paano hindi ako matatawa? Ginagalit na talaga nila ang taong bayan. Gusto na talaga nilang makita, nakakalad ka rin si Bongbong Marcos palabas ng Malacanang. Gusto po talaga nilang makita ang nangyari. O baka grabe pa ang mangyayari kay Bongbong Marcos sa nangyari sa tatay niya. Kasi mga ka-reaction, ito'y galawang pinklawan, dilawan. Ang tumitimon po kay Bongbong Marcos ngayon ay mga pinklawan tsaka dilawan na. O di ba? Si Kiko Masin, kasama siya sa mga bumoto. At saka si Luistro, yung tinago niya yung asawa niya. Puro mga illegalista. Walang nga naman. Puro mga illegalista na ang mga nasa gobyerno natin. Kaya dito mga ka-reaction, makikita po natin dito na talagang wala na, last resort na to. Para pabagsakin si Sara Duterte, last resort na. Gawin nating ombudsman si Boying Remula at ipakulong si Sara Duterte. Naku, nakakaawa po si Bongbong Marcos. Sa kabubuan ni Bongbong Marcos na itinalaga niya si Bonjing Remula bilang ombudsman, lalo pong magagalit ang taong bayan. Lalo pong mawawala ng tiwala ang taong bayan dito sa gobyernong hindi na nila pinagkakatiwalaan. Mantakin mo yan, ang gobyernong hindi mo na pinagkakatiwalaan ay nawalan ka pa ng tiwala. Ito mga ka-reaction, pakinggan po natin ha. Senator Imee Marcos, palagay ko, dito nararatratin si Ombudsman Bonjing Remula. Panoorin po ninyo to, silang dalawa ni Senator Marcoleta, kung paano po ang ginawa nilang pagratrat doon sa isang justice. Mga ka-reaction, isang justice. Ginisa ng ginisa ni Marcoleta at ni Imee Marcos. Kaya mga ka-reaction, wag po kayong mag-alala. Sa pagkakatalaga ni Bonjing Remula sa ombudsman, yan lang ay nagiging talagang sinimento na nila at pinakita na talaga nila ang kanilang intensyon ay mawala si Sara Duterte sa eksena sa 2028 para tuloy-tuloy ang kanilang kaligayahan. Huwag po kayong mag-alala. Hindi po natutulugan nasa itaas. Alam ko may mangyayari. Na-excite na ako eh. Kasi nasa dulo na tayo ng laban. Na-excite na ako. Huwag po kayong may stress. Mga nanay ko, mga mother, mga grandmother, grandfather, mga tatay ko dyan, huwag po kayo, mga auntie, mga uncle, huwag po kayong mag-alala. Nasa endgame na po tayo. Malapit na matapos si Bongbong Marcos dyan sa Malacanang. Di ba? Erich! Pasok, Erich!
Wala ho tayong pakialam sa batas na yan. Sometimes, you have to bend the law to be able to please the people. Mas mataas po ang taong bayan sa batas. Am I right, Secretary Remulla?
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Alright, Reaction TVBS, nagbabalik reaction. Napakaganda po naman pag-uusapan natin yung mga ka-reaction. Mantakin po ninyo mga ka-reaction, nasa survival mode na po ang mga kalaban natin. Sino nagsabi niyan? Ayan, si Madam Rowena Guanzon, survival mode ni Marcos. Ayan, itinalaga po niya si Bonjing Remula. Nako mga ka-reaction, ngayon pakinggan po natin ang ating malupit na senador na si Senador Rodante Marcoleta. Ipapaliwanag niya kung bakit itong si Bonjing Remula ay isang survival mode. Talagang nasa tinatawag nilang desperate na po sila, desperate. Kung hindi ka ba naman ang desperado, gagawin mong ombudsman si Remula? Kung hindi ba naman hawak sa liig ni Bongbong Marcos o hawak sa bulsa ang mga tratadong... Ayoko na magsalita. Ito mga ka-reaction pakinggan po natin si Senator Marcoleta. Naku, napakalupit po nito Medyo English to pero itatranslate natin ng dahan-dahan Dahan-dahan. Mag-comment kayo sa comment section kung medyo mga naiiwanan kayo kasi marami tayong mga ka-reaction dyan. Medyo hindi masyadong malupit sa English pero naniniwala ako marami din tayong mga ka-reaction dyan na matutulungan nila tayo na ipaliwanag ang sinasabi ni Senator Marcoleta dito sa comment section pakipaliwanag na lang po yung mga malulupit sa English dyan. I-comment nyo sa comment section at yung mga katulad ko na medyo above minimal average lang sa English, mga ka-reaction, magtanong po tayo sa comment section at magpapaliwanag po yung ibang mga ka-reaction natin dyan. Halimbawa, merong magtatanong ano ba yung ibig sabihin nun, tapos yung mga nakakaunawa po mga ka-reaction, magre-reply siya. Parang conversation po tayo dyan sa comment section para tayo nag-chat-chat. Mga textmate muna tayo ngayon sa comment section, okay? May mga magtatanong sa comment section, may mga magpapaliwanag. Sa Tagalog lang po ha, wag sa Bisaya at saka sa English. English na nga, bibisayain pa natin eh. Diba, ako nakakaintindi ako ng Bisaya, kaya lang yung mga Bisayang iba, hindi po nakakaintindi ng Bisaya. Joke lang po yun ha. Alright, simulan na po natin.
Yes, Your Honor.
And the previous rules of the Judicial and Bar Council, those with pending cases or pending complaints are automatically disqualified. The case in point is that case of then Senator, now Congresswoman Laila de Lima. Because of her pending disbarment case in 2012, she was automatically disqualified. But soon enough, your rules were revised, and because of that, under Section 5 of your revised rules, Paragraph B, those with pending administrative cases or complaints before any court, office, tribunal, or government office, agency, or instrumentality, or before the IBP, or any association, disciplinary committee, or body, when in the determination of the council the complaints are serious or grave as to affect their fitness for nomination, ay disqualified lamang po. But again, kung madidetermine ng council na yung complaints are serious or grave as to affect their fitness for nomination. Ang ibig pong sabihin nito, Justice, if the council feels that the complaints are not serious or grave enough to affect their fitness or nomination, hindi po madi-disqualify yung applicant. Is that correct, sir?
With respect to disqualifications, there are automatic disqualifications.
Meron daw automatic, pero ang problema kasi, nung si Remula na ang itatalagang ombudsman at nag-apply, binago nila yung rules. Ibang klase po mga ka-reaction.
Like if you have been pending cases in criminal cases in the courts. And
Yes, Justice.
with
Ang
respect-
sinasabi ko po yung sa Section 5, which
Yes.
says the following are disqualified from being nominated for appointment in any judicial post or the position of ombudsman, deputy ombudsman.
Yes,
Ito pong sinabi ko, pero ang kolatilya po, when in the determination of the council, the complaints are serious or grave. Ibig sabihin po, kung hindi serious at saka hindi grave, hindi po siya madi-disqualify.
po,
That's correct, sir?
it pertains to the administrative cases po. If it is pending in the ombudsman, an applicant is automatically disqualified. But with respect to the pending administrative cases or complaints before any office, court, tribunal, or any government office, ito po subject to this discretion of each member. Yun ang
Yun nga po ang ibig ko sabihin, Justice.
hindi ho automatic.
Yun nga po. So, ibig sabihin nito dahil nag-file po ng disbarment si Mayor Sebastian Duterte,
Yes po.
ibig sabihin po, in the discretion of the council, hindi siya serious or grave enough. Tama po ba?
Ang what I heard yesterday was the argument that it refers the complaint refers to the same act which was in a complaint previously dismissed by the ombudsman or earlier dismissed by the ombudsman. Yun yung nag-prevail na reason yesterday. I just cannot disclose the members who gave those reasons, but it prevailed yesterday. Yes, sir.
This representation, Justice, filed a sworn opposition to the application of Secretary Remulla to the office of the Ombudsman on two grounds.
O, di ba? Mga ka-reaction, dito kasi napagalata. Nakakalungkot mga ka-reaction dahil mantagin ninyo ang daming kaso ni Remulla. Ang dami niyang kaso. Biglang na-dismiss yung mga kaso niya na isinampa ni Imee Marcos. Ang dami talagang kaso mga ka-reaction, pero bakit ganito ang bansa natin? Bakit ganito ang nangyayari? May kaso siyang kidnapping. May kaso siyang, marami siyang kaso. Pero bakit nabigyan siya ng clearance? Yun, grabe no mga ka-reaction.
Secretary Remulla publicly announced that he added restitution as requirement to the Witness Protection Program. That requirement does not exist in the law, but he insisted. That justice, to my mind, clearly indicates or demonstrates the lack of required legal acumen as well as adherence to the standards of probity befitting an ombudsman. Second, the Secretary's affirmation of the bending the law constitutes a violation of the Code of Professional Responsibility and Accountability. These two grounds, Mr. Justice, are not enough for the JBC to consider.
It's like this. We receive your complaint or your opposition against Secretary Remulla. We considered the reasons, but there were two issues yesterday. First was whether or not he is disqualified.
Hey, Judge, sandali lang, Judge. Nabayaran ka ba, Judge? Nabayaran ka? Tanong lang, Judge, nabayaran ka ba? Tanong lang. Malinaw na malinaw dito, mga ka-reaction. Pakinggan po natin. Malinaw po dito, pakinggan po ninyo.
Putang ina ninyo.
Hindi yan. Masyadong mainit ang ulo ni Pangulong Duterte.
Wala ho tayong pakialam sa batas na sometimes you have to bend the law.
Ito yung sinasabi ni Marcoleta, mga ka-reaction, na umagri siya na i-bend yung law. Ito, pakinggan po ninyo.
Wala ho tayong pakialam sa batas na sometimes you have to bend the law to be able to please the people. Mas mataas po ang taong bayan sa batas. Am I right, Secretary Remulla?
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yun po sinasabi ni Senator Marcoleta. Yung tanga, nagsabi niya, sometimes you have to bend the law. Umagri naman itong isa, di ba? Naging ombudsman pa. Nakakadiri po ang ating gobyerno. Nakakadiri ka, Bongbong Marcos. Survival mode ka na lang ba? Bumaba ka na dyan sa Malacanang, Bongbong Marcos.
And then doon na pumasok sa, because he was not disqualified, he can be voted upon, pumasok na doon yung consideration of the merits of your complaint. Doon he was not able to get a unanimous vote. Pero hindi ko na masabi ko sino yung mga votante. But they considered the reasons you gave. Your two reasons were very important. We received them, we read them, and we considered them.
How did you consider that? How did the council consider the sworn opposition?
Ano yun? Nasa weight na ho yun. Nasa weight. Not sa qualification or disqualification, but on the weight na sa voting ng a considered candidate, nandun na sa way to yun. The members, majority are appointed by the president. They considered that it is, they voted, the majority voted for him, so they did not give it much weight. you know, or you, the opposition.
Mr. Justice, one of the overarching principles that guided the creation of the 1987 Constitution is the desire to promote the rule of law, as is stated in our own preamble. Pag sinabi po nating rule of law, this is the guiding post. When somebody affirms that sometimes we can bend the law, you or the JBC took that very lightly, Mr. Justice?
No, Your Honor, we, in the interpretation of the law, we can be strict, or we can be, what do you call that? For example, in the interpretation of...
Imaginein po ninyo mga ka-reaction si Senator Marcoleta. Binabalasa po niya dito, Justice. Ganyan po kalupit si Senator Marcoleta naman.
the Constitution, if you are a strict one, they call you an originalist. And if you want to adapt to the times, they call you, you are a believer of the living Constitution. Ganun no.
We're not interpreting the Constitution, Mr. Justice.
Yes, sir.
I'm asking you whether the rule of law is still the foundation of our Constitution.
It is.
Nako, nakakahiya po yun mga ka-reaction. Nakakahiya po yun, sasabihan ka ng isang senador na hindi naman justice. We're not interpreting the Constitution. Parang pinapakita po dito ni Marcoleta, tinuturuan mo yata ako ng Constitution. Di ba?
It's very much the foundation.
When somebody affirms
You want to adapt to the times, they call you, you are a believer of the living Constitution. Ganun no.
we're not interpreting the Constitution, Mr. Justice.
Yes, sir.
I'm asking you whether the rule of law is still the foundation of our Constitution.
It is very much the foundation.
When somebody affirms that the law can be bended, that is inconsistent with the Constitution. Don't you think so?
Yes, I agree with that, but sometimes it depends upon the context of how it is used, the bending of the law, whether it is freely, if they are interpreting it liberally.
Did you know how it was used, Mr. Justice?
Yes,
We were discussing
Yes,
whether
Your
or not restitution
yes, Your Honor.
is a requirement for an applicant to be processed under the Witness Protection Program.
Yes, Your
And suddenly the Secretary of Justice insisted that one requirement is restitution. It is not there.
Aware of that. Yes.
And somebody suggested that sometimes the law should be bent. That was the context, Mr. Justice.
I heard it, Your Honor. I saw it on
And if you hear it from no less than the Secretary of Justice, abrogating all the cornerstones of our belief in ourselves, in our Constitution, then you still include him as an applicant to the Ombudsman. Somebody who will preside over the lives, the properties and liberties of every citizen of this country. You take light of that. The JBC will take light of that, Mr. Justice.
the majority considered it as slight.
So the majority
The majority
took light of the opposition of a senator of this republic, Mr. Justice.
that is a fact, Your Honor.
And 6 of them, based on their discretion, the opposition is not worth it. Is that it, Mr. Justice?
There were
Napipi, mga ka-reaction, napipi po yung justice. Napipi. Tama nga naman yun, ha? Sabi ni Senator Marcoleta, wala bang bigat ang isang senador? Ang isang, sasabihin na natin na sulat na ipinadala ng isang senador na kanyang pagsalangsang sa isang tao na nag-apply bilang ombudsman dahil marami siyang kaso at hindi siya karapat-dapat na maging ombudsman dahil sa sinabi niya na ang batas ay pwede niyang balihin. Napipi po itong justice.
6.
So the majority
The majority
took light of the opposition of a senator of this republic, Mr. Justice.
That is a fact, Your Honor.
And 6 of them, based on their discretion, the opposition is not worth it. Is that it, Mr. Justice?
There were six, yes, excluding the secretary himself, because he is also a member of the Judicial and Bar Council.
Because of his inclusion in the short list, Mr. Justice, will you favor amending further your rules
Yes, Your Honor. We
that
have-
would give a chance that all prospective nominees or applicant to the ombudsman should already be subjected not to the JBC, but the Commission on Appointments?
It's up to you, Your Honor.
It's only a suggestion, Mr. Justice.
But with respect,
Just thinking aloud, Mr. Justice.
yes, Your Honor. With respect to the JBC, we have set tomorrow up to Friday to review and amend the internal rules of the JBC, considering past incidents. And we are inviting the public to submit their recommendations. So it will be a 3-day workshop to amend the internal rules of the Judicial and Bar Council.
What would you think of the public thinking that somebody who affirmed that sometimes we should bend the law has become the ombudsman of this republic?
I do not have time really to read the social media, but my position is different. I am a believer of the rule of law. I was a justice for several years at a regional trial court. When I was a regional trial court, I adhered to precedents. Also, when I was a justice in the Court of Appeals, I adhered to the precedents. When I was in the Supreme Court, whenever I make a ruling, I was very aware that our decisions will be considered as precedents by those following us. So that's my experience being in the judiciary. That's why I believe in the rule of law.
Thank you, Mr. Justice. Any more questions from the floor?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Thank you very much, Justice, and welcome to the Senate and the Commission on Appointments. My first question is very simple. Is the exercise of the JBC's functions of shortlisting candidates for the judiciary ministerial? Is it merely ministerial, or does it involve judgment and discretion?
Your Honor, it involves judgment and discretion. With respect to the disqualification, there are automatic disqualifications if you have pending cases. But when you meet the criteria and you're not disqualified, then discretion comes in. There are so many factors to be considered by a member in considering an aspirant. Is not only his bar rating, his academic records are also looked into, his experience as a professional, the honors, the awards he garnered, his reputation also, his integrity,
Thank you.
and his record.
Thank you very much, Justice. In other words, the JBC is not a mere rubber stamp. Is that correct? I mean, its job is not merely to ensure that it ticks off all the requirements or deletes in the case of disqualifications. So otherwise, the Constitution wouldn't require such stringent qualifications for one to become a JBC member. Isn't that correct, Paul? Isn't it though before, applicants should have already qualified on the last day of the application. I heard this is a practice for regular applicants for the judiciary, the RTC. Why change it for some people? Why does the JBC keep changing its rules? Does the JBC favor someone? Why qualify an applicant on the very last day of final deliberations? I refer to the case of Attorney Logan, who was only issued an ombudsman clearance on October 6th, the same day the shortlist was released and sent to the office of the president due to 2 pending ombudsman cases. Why were the rules suddenly changed in her favor?
Actually, Your Honor, when we publish the announcement inviting applicants for we invite the public to report, to comment, to endorse or oppose the applications of those listed applicants. Not all submit their oppositions on time. There are those who submit their clearances when they apply. There are those who reserve or they ask for time to submit their clearances. And after that, there are also oppositions, complaints against the applicants. And in our experience, most of the complaints they're not that serious as to disqualify a candidate. So we consider every opposition. We ask them to comment, to comply with the due process requirement of the Constitution, so they are asked to comment. The last day, because of our experience of complainants or oppositors filing their complaints and opposition during the last week or the last few days of the final deliberation.
Nakakawa po yung justice na bulol-bulol na no? Mali naman po kasi talaga ginawa nila dito. Mali naman ang ginawa nila kay Boying, nako. Mali po ang ginawa nila mga ka-reaction. Disqualified po siya. Pero pinilit kasi nga desperate move na to. Survival mode na po si Bongbong Marcos.
We deem it unfair if we will automatically disqualify them.
Justice.
So we have to study if the matter is very serious or not.
Yes, Justice, but you made mention of a list of absolute requirements, which contains, among others, a clearance of the ombudsman. Surely that doesn't require an oppositor to file with the JBC. Surely that is of note. Why was Attorney Logan considered, given that the ombudsman clearance was only given on the same day, yesterday, when the shortlist was given? The deadline had long passed. Why is the JBC changing its rules to favor certain people?
It's still within the rules, Your Honor. Before the voting, they should, if they can submit a clearance, they can be qualified and can be
Even on the same day po.
same day.
Because they're given to understand that the required documents are supposed to have been submitted in September, as is usual with regular judges in ordinary courts.
Yes. With respect to judges, we have considered it to be the last day because there are so many good judges.
So there's a distinction po.
when
The
they are-
ombudsman is special and regular judges have to comply with the rules.
No, they have the same qualification if they have a pending.
But there was a deadline for the requirements to be submitted in September,
Oh.
a deadline that was actually extended repeatedly.
Yes. It is on the last day of we call it the final deliberation. If they can submit a clearance, they can be considered. With respect to
Several dates were given po. In
Yes,
September, I recall.
yes, Your Honor.
In any case, did you participate, given that you were reappointed twice? Did you participate in the proceedings, in the shortlisting of the ombudsman candidates po?
Yes, yes, Your Honor, because my appointment was ad interim.
So, given the two appointments, you in fact participated. So we are very curious about the occurrences with regard to the JBC shortlisting yesterday. It is very clear that the JBC requires that an applicant should have no pending administrative or criminal case before any office, considering that Secretary Boying Remulla was included in the list of nominees, despite having pending cases and issues touching on propriety. Would you agree that such inclusion may cast doubt on your council's adherence to the constitutional requirement of recognized probity and independence?
We were aware of that. Senator Pangilinan was there, and Congressman Luistro was there when we considered the first issue of whether a candidate is disqualified or not. So in the case of Secretary Remulla, he was able to submit clearances from the ombudsman. And then we checked the JBC rules, and in the JBC rules regarding disqualification, if you have a pending case with the ombudsman, you will be disqualified. But if there is any other administrative case before any other government agency, it will be subject the discretion and evaluation of the individual members. It is only, I do not know why the administrative cases of pending before the ombudsman are different from the other agencies, but that is the rule. And
But surely you're aware that the pending cases were not merely administrative, but in fact criminal.
we were aware of that. Senator Pangilinan was there, and Congressman Luistro was there when we considered the first issue of whether
Puro mga kalaban pala yung nandun eh. Si Luis Tro tsaka si Pangilinan.
a candidate is disqualified or not.
And we can hardly say that recognized probity is in fact upheld.
Di ba? Ba't hindi nila pinatawag si Marcoleta? Ba't hindi nila pinatawag yung mga...
Mr. Honor, that is, we are aware of that, but he was able to obtain a clearance. So,
As a matter of fact, some of these cases arose before Secretary Remulla made his intentions known that he intended to become ombudsman. Is this a person of recognized probity? Also, a lifelong politician? Is this a person of recognized independence?
the voting yesterday was in secret, it was confidential. We do not know the members who voted for him and the member who did not vote for him. So, may we ask your indulgence on that? We respect the confidentiality of the JPC proceedings because the Chief Justice, Alexis Mundo, even asked us to execute an undertaking that everything should be confidential for the protection of the members of the JPC, especially the regular members who are not politicians. They are apolitical.
We are certain that you are aware that in 2012, for the position of Chief Justice, two pending disbarments against then Laila de Lima disqualified her.
Before you answer, Justice, the chair would like to acknowledge the presence of Senator Joel Villanueva.
Yes, so this occurred in 2012 when she was disqualified
Yes.
because of two disbarment cases. I am certain that you are aware that there are disbarment cases filed against Secretary Remulla. First, on the 23rd of September, Attorney Topacio filed. Thereafter, on the 2nd of October, acting Davao City Mayor Baste Duterte also filed a disbarment case. In addition, our chairman, Senator Marcoleta, filed his sworn opposition. But in the short list submitted yesterday to the Office of the President, it still included the name of Secretary Remulla. Why is that so, considering that there are two pending disbarment cases and a sworn opposition?
We considered them as complaints, but in our discussion yesterday, it was considered that last-minute oppositions and complaints were considered as mere oppositions by the JBC.
Are you saying, Justice, that all of these cases against Secretary Remulla are entirely baseless?
No, it's still ongoing, but in the minds of the members, there were.
You admit that they were still ongoing, certainly.
Yes, yes,
Uh,
yes, Your Honor.
You can hardly say that he is qualified. You yourself said if there are pending cases, and
Yes.
you said that they are ongoing.
Ongoing.
How could you have disregarded them and included him in a short list? You can form your preliminary judgment or opinion on the cases for purposes of JBC proceedings, right?
Yes.
Are we saying that these are baseless? Is it not clear that the case I filed at the Ombudsman was dismissed by the acting Ombudsman Vargas on the sole ground that the Supreme Court would raise prejudicial questions? Certainly, the Ombudsman didn't tackle the merits in any way. Hence, the JBC should have considered it and given it more weight.
Was considered by all the members of the JBC, but we do not know the reasons of each and every member. The JBC.
What were your reasons as a member? How did you justify his inclusion?
He was able to secure a clearance with respect to the criminal cases. And then, with respect to the disbarment, they were considered one and the same act by the body. The members of the JBC come from different interests. I represent the retired justices. One represents the academe, one represents the private sector, and one represents the IBP. The government is represented, the Senate is represented by.
Sir, we're aware of the different sectors represented in the JBC, and we are certain that they're all qualified and fit. However, given the cases that were pending, what will happen as a former Supreme Court justice if the Supreme Court decides that no prejudicial question exists and that the Ombudsman should have resolved the Remulla cases on its merits? Do you think that Secretary Remulla can ever be fair in deciding the cases against himself, now sitting as Ombudsman? If he inhibits, do you think that it will allay any notion of partially considering that it is still his underlings who will finally decide? Does that not put us in an untenable position?
Yes, Your Honor, I agree that he has to inhibit himself, but he is in a position to, as the ombudsman, yes, he is in a position to influence the deputies if who will replace him if he inhibits himself. But there's so many factors, and we cannot at this time predict what those factors are. But the human factor is very important. Their background, their sense of justice, like that.
Would not that be the same problem if the decision on the 2 disbarment cases is adverse to Secretary Remulla? How can it be enforced, considering that he is an impeachable officer? Did the JBC not take this into account?
We took this into account, Your Honor. We know that there is a process. With respect to disbarment, sometimes they are directly filed with the IBP, and then it goes to it is referred to the council or the committee in the IBP, and then if they have finding already, it will go to the Board of Governors. And all their findings are recommendatory. It is after the Board of Governors of the IBP, they will recommend to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court will be the final arbiter.
Yes, Justice Mendoza, we're aware of the process. Merely that it appears that the JBC did not adequately take into consideration all these issues. We are aware, Mr. Chairman and Justice Mendoza, of the tremendous pressure upon the JBC. However, it's apparent that the JBC subverted its own rules and really performed extraordinary leniency in the case of at least 2 applicants, by which we're totally perplexed and rather alarmed for its future performance. That's all, Mr. Chair. Thank you very much, Justice Mendoza.
The ombudsman position has been vacant since July 27, 2025, and following the retirement of Samuel Martires, with JBC's public interviews concluding on September 2. But the deliberations are repeatedly rescheduled due to composition changes, risking non-compliance with the constitutional mandate of the 90-day appointment deadline, which ends this month, and eroding the public trust amid ongoing corruption probe. Now, my question, Justice, is that the ombudsman vacancy has lingered beyond the initial post-retirement period, with public interviews that concludes last month. Now, the deliberation was almost delayed, and how might such timelines undermine public trust in the judiciary? And in your own view, what procedural reforms should the JBC implement to ensure compliance with the 90-day appointment rule under the Constitution?
In every case, like the Supreme Court,